Cisco wouldn't hire her. If they saw her account and her social media thing, her career in the Fortune 500 is over before it started.
I'm glad
she has nothing going on there.
Did you see Mr. Do you know who Mr. Fantastic is?
He's one of the
sharks.
The superhero?
Yeah, he's the one that stretches.
He's one of the sharks from Shark
Oh, the
Tank.
bald guy who's like, no, I'm not. I'll give you $150,000 for 15% equity. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna want
I do know who he is
over
now.
3 years.
I might be thinking of Mr. I don't know.
He might be something else, but he's something like that. So he's got a stupid fucking name that clearly he gave himself. But they were interviewing him about the Columbia thing, and he's like, "Oh, you love to see it, don't you? Let me tell you how this works. In a Fortune 500 company, we do a deep dive. We spend about $5,000 to a third-party company. They use artificial intelligence. They use everything at their grasp to find anything and everything about you. You're out there right now with a mask on and think we don't know that you're burning an American flag, that you're raising a Palestinian flag. I can see your eyeballs in 4K. You're not getting a job here. You're not getting a job anywhere." It was like, oh, shit.
I mean, a lot of them are wearing masks. They're trying to hide their identity. Do you think that'll work?
It used to work back in the 60s and 70s because it was only recorded on 16 millimeter film. Today, all of this video security cameras are at 1080p and 4K resolution, extremely high resolution that allows you to use AI protocols to identify people by the iris or just a partial exposure of the face. Do you ever wonder how they captured every single person that marched on the Hill and the insurgents? Now, whether they arrested or not didn't matter, but every single individual on that hill eventually was identified using this AI technology today. It's very available. It's inexpensive. And I use it as an employer every time we have a candidate in the executive suite. We do a deep dive and we find out where you came. We're looking for what you say on your resume matching your reality of your life. And obviously, I don't care what side you're on in the protest, but if you're fighting police, burning flags, wrecking properties, breaking through windows, I'm going to know that. And so is the government, so is everybody else. So think about that. That's all I'm telling these young people. Think about it, because it's not free.
That's terrifying. That's
yeah, really I'm not current on that. I want to be like, that's not what we do 15 years ago, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is what they do if it's a real position that you got to keep in mind. They're protesting at Columbia. You know, these are future movers and shakers.
Potentially, yeah.
They're not looking for a middle of the road job. These are guys trying to really hit a home run after their education. You would imagine, after spending $100,000 a year or whatever Columbia costs.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they're not running fucking eyeball analysis on everyone.
Sure,
I have two friends that went to Columbia.
There's all sorts of biometrics. They can they measure your gait now. Like you can't even walk. You could be in a full suit with your head covered up, and they would see how your arms swing and how you walk, your gait.
I skip everywhere. They'll never.
They would have you down. They're like, the biometrics would immediately the skipper. That's him.
The skipper. Ooh, that's cool. I'm like, I skip around the protest. I'm like, that's him. That's the skipper. What side's he on? No one knows. He's just really frustrating to deal with. He's got a whole pocket full of flags. Some of them not even relevant.
Think skipping was an efficient mode of transport when you were young, or is that just me?
Someone told me at some point when I was a kid that skipping was faster than walking and also used less energy than walking, which I realize now to be a lie that an adult strung me along with because he thought I looked like a fucking idiot skipping.
I thought skipping was the most efficient mode of transport. Running is exhausting. Even young Woody would run for whatever, half a mile and be all sweaty and tired. Walking is slow and boring, but I found skipping to be that happy medium. The thing is, it's uncool. So anytime I had to go more than a mile or so, I'm just resisting the urge to skip, maybe looking around to see if I could skip in privacy. I would skip through the woods because, I don't know. No one's looking. No one's there.
You had your own sort of Anne Frank journey.
That's a great line.
You just had to skip about in private. That's what she was so upset about up there. She just wanted to get moving. They were like, hey, fucking calm down. The Nazis are right outside, bitch. Get to writing. Write a bunch of weird shit in that journal that we're going to have to take out later before we make kids read it.
Yeah,
I bet they put
Damn,
stuff
Woody,
back
you know,
in
just
these
like
days,
the
though.
just like the eyeball analysis, Woody. If we try and start a red pill podcast and they show clips of you skipping, we're done. We're gonna be Pearly Things and Andrew Tate. They're gonna bully us. They're gonna be like, look at these fruits skipping.
Andrew Tate would bully me. He's a good speaker and he's a tough guy. I don't have anything to
Yeah,
offer.
Andrew Tate coming to you live from an Albanian prison, right?
Well, I think that like in some of those Arab places, like the cleaning lady in your building is like an indentured. And I know they did that thing when they were building the arena for the World Cup where I'm going to get the nationalities wrong, but it seemed like they allowed all these foreign workers to come in, but then they decided that their papers weren't good enough to go home anymore. And so you're just stuck. It's like, where are you going to go?
I remember hearing about this.
Like they essentially entrapped, enslaved all of those.
Which country?
Qatar, right?
Qatar.
Oh, this is current.
When they were building the thing for the World Cup. That's the way I remember. This is like 6, 7, 8 years ago when these stories were coming out.
I heard
people
they
complaining.
took their paperwork so they couldn't quit the job. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
by some means, they made it so they couldn't leave. You know, once they had already came.
There's lots of good parts about Qatar too that the media won't tell us. Let's look up.
I just saw Jackie. She said, "My sword, hold your hats, is worth between $70 and $90, making it the most valuable sword on the show."
Oh, by an infinite measure.
Well, by $70 to $90.
Yeah. Percentage-wise, you have a sword worth billions the time of our combined swords.
But every sword you should name your sword. I feel like that was a big part of Game of Thrones.
Yes. We'll name it
Cheapskate.
Discount.
What country makes those have you ever seen those like Arab films where it's like a guy who looks like Wings of Redemption in a chic outfit and he's like, "You must never allow a woman to speak to you in public." Like that, like those kinds of lessons. Have you not seen
Hollywood, I guess?
What are we talking about?
Is it called Memory TV? Yes, it is. I've seen clips of these guys on like on Twitter, and it's like an Arab, some sort of news station. I don't actually know what country it's from, but they will have guys on there will be like, "Now next guest is Mohammed bin Mohammed to tell us about the evil scourge of Jews." And then he'll get on there and he'll just be like, "Thank you so much for having me. Anyway, these guys, I've had it. I've had more than my fill of these Jews." And it's like a whole
it real
news segment. It's so wild. I can't tell if it's like a Spinal Tap thing or if it's like a real, if it was like if there was a military operation to make the people in that corner of the world look as bad as possible, it would be this.
It's like the way Sacha Baron Cohen went after Kazakhstan to the point where they had to do like a $30 million ad campaign to prove that they weren't the awful thing that he was saying they were. You know, he did a fake thing where he pretended to like blow their president, and they had to like tell their people that was not the president, that guy in that suit. That was because they shot it at an angle and they announced the president was there, and then Borat got on his knees to apologize and started kissing the president's crotch. Like that's a Kazaki apology. You kissed their crotch. So he's just kissing the front of his pants profusely. And then it's aired in Kazakhstan, and they're like, "Was that really the fucking president? Did Borat just kiss his?" And they have this big campaign like that did not happen. Like that was not real. President did not get kissed on the crotch by Borat. They were so embarrassed by that because he made fun of them in ridiculous ways, but he really wasn't that far off. Like one of their, not their national drink, but a drink they drink there, surely in the rural areas, is fermented goat milk. But he said it was goat piss. And it's like, it's so close that like when you hear the truth, you're like, that's still pretty weird.
Yeah. Fermented milk.
It's wild.
So then when they defend themselves, "We do not drink goat piss. We drink fermented goat milk." Well, that's still weird. Like you have a hard time defending yourself.
It's way better than the piss. But
it's way better than the piss.
It's because it is a drinkable fluid. Dude, that memory thing I just was saying. Look at the Wikipedia link I just posted for that memory TV.
Oh, dear.
I'm so glad I thought of this randomly. It stands for Middle East Media Research Institute.
Oh dear.
Is an American nonprofit press monitoring and analysis organization that was co-founded by Israeli ex-intelligence officer Yigal Karman and Israeli-American political scientist Meirav Wormser in 1997. Critics describe Memory as a strongly pro-Israel advocacy group that in spite of describing itself as being independent and nonpartisan in nature, aims to portray the Arab world and the Muslim world in a negative light by producing and disseminating incomplete or inaccurate translations of the original versions of the media reports that it
This is
republishes.
propaganda.
This is literally propaganda.
You can't trust Israeli ex-intelligence officers. Who can you trust?
They don't present themselves that way. They present themselves as like Arabs with Arab takes, and then I'm sure they sucker other Arabs in, and then like amplify what they mean. And you know how it is. If everyone's laughing, you might like, you know what?
Keep
Let's burn them all. Not just the
Mhm.
bad ones, but the women and the children, and the whole room is like, fuck yeah, somebody
Yeah.
get, and you're like, yeah, they love me. Like, I feel like that's what that is.
Because that's
Like,
literally the only clips I've ever seen of this organization
Holy
is
shit.
shit of like an Arab guy sitting there. And it's always like a 1 minute clip saying things like, women are merely property. They are nothing to us. Go about your day. And if they give you lip, you remove the attitude. Like just like shit like that. And so, wow, this is
Okay, I'm
a
catching on
literal
now.
propaganda organization.
well, you hate to see it. I'm glad we found that out. So, you watching on YouTube or like TikTok?
I've
or
seen
something?
clips of it on Twitter where there's literally a big fat guy who does look a ton like Wings of Redemption. I bet I can find him. I bet I can find the big fat Memory TV guy.
Show me Terror Wings.
I'm gonna find it. Zach, pull up Wings of Redemption Memory TV Arab.
Can't be the first person to make this observation to make the link.
There's no way because it just was on Wikipedia in 2 seconds.
Jesus Christ.
Memory TV. Come on, I have to find the fucking Wings of Redemption Arab.
Well, see, I don't like that because I feel like my prejudices against Arabs are well founded and have no holes in them. But when you throw something like this at me, it seems like our great friend Israel may have deceived us in this one instance. And I'm sure they didn't mean it in a bad way. They were just trying. Maybe it was a mistake.
Just a long, drawn out mistake.
Yeah, they're going into Rafah right now, and Biden's delaying their weapon shipment. Ooh, it's tough stance, Biden.
Do they go into Rafah or they're?
My understanding was they were rolling tanks into Rafah. I thought that had been ongoing.
I'm not at all trying to say you're wrong. I only heard the Biden take on it, which was like, if you roll in there full scale, whatever that means, then the American weapons stop.
I get clips of their like, you never know which show you're watching. It's an Arab TV show, but I can't scale it with like, is this the Bill Maher of and it's not Arab, it's Israeli. I don't know if this is the Bill Maher of Israel. I don't know if this is like the Jimmy Kimmel of them, or I don't know if this is just some guy who showed up tonight as a guest. But here this lady is, oh, you don't want to give us the laser guided bombs? We'll use the non-guided bombs. We'll blow up 10 neighborhoods instead of one, 10 neighborhoods instead of one, 10 schools instead of one. Let's use the dumb bombs. Sure, we have plenty of those. And it's just like, damn, I wonder who this, I hope that's not the feelings at higher levels.
ארצות הברית מאיימת שלא תיתן לנו טילים מדויקים. וואלה, יש לי חדשות לארצות הברית. יש לנו טילים לא מדויקים. ויש לנו את הזכות להתגונן. אז אולי במקום להשתמש בטיל מדויק ולהוריד חדר ספציפי, או בניין ספציפי, אני אשתמש בטילים הלא מדויקים שלי. ואני פשוט אמוטט 10 בניינים. 10 בניינים. 10 בניינים. זה מה שאני אעשה.
That doesn't sound
I don't
good.
know. I heard it and I thought, I guess Genocide Joe doesn't like his nickname. So he's like pulling support to some extent. I don't know.
Honestly, how confident are you in the Joe Biden victory as we sit here today? I feel like it's good to every now and then take the temperature in the room, because there was a moment a few weeks ago where I felt like it was swinging back his way. Polls aside, I felt like there was a little bit of like, man, it's all there's a lot of Trump negative stuff, and and Biden is clear. Someone on his team or him, maybe it's his directive, like, hey, find me some good things for the news. And when you open the paper, you should hear about something the president's done for the people today. that's what it's felt like the last few months. Like every week there's a new good thing that he's done. I don't know, some free school lunches or getting lead out of the pipes. They're doing that. It's like, fuck yeah, let's get that lead out of the pipes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
April 10th to April 20th. I just looked at it. I pulled it up. He was leading in the polls. And Trump had been leading so long, I saw it as this big reversal. It was sort of a rebound, or I guess, new state of affairs out of that State of the Union, which went pretty well for him. Even the Republicans were like, he took a fucking Red Bull. It's not fair. And it's like, well, if that's your comeback, then we all admit he did a good job, right?
Yep.
And that seems to have passed. Now I see Trump leading in the polls. And it's close, but it's always close. It wasn't like Biden was leading by a lot. And I'm sorry.
I just want to say the Republicans don't know how to spin. They don't know how to spin. Like they did exactly what you said. They said, clearly he's on so much caffeine. Why is he so loud, boisterous, and getting his points across so strongly? That's not my kind of president. It's like, that was literally
the Republicans are so retarded.
What you should have said is like, I think I've seen this before somewhere. And then we throw up that image of Hitler rocking at the fucking Olympics. And then we look into Biden's entire background. Everybody that works the White, we find a doctor. We find any medical doctor in there who could maybe prescribe these. And then you just say, I'm just asking questions. Dr. Phillips here. Why are you working in the newsroom back there? Why are you stamping stamps? You could be at a hospital or at a private practice. This is the main, whoever Hitler's like doctor, I'd use that. I'd draw all those comparisons. I'd make Biden a Hitler who's getting amped up by his secret doctor in the back. Instead, they were just like, he's too energetic. It's intimidating. Like, what are you doing?
Dude, the Democrats are so much better at politics. It's wild to watch the Republicans. They're just floundering retards.
It's funny because I sometimes feel the other way. Like I think Trump in particular does things every day that would sink anybody else, and I'm like, is there something about him that's working for him? Is this a video or
I don't know. He said
this is the kind of shit that like you will see in the subtitles on Memory TV. Your book, you wrote that Tom and Jerry were created by the ancient Egyptians, right?
Well, I can believe that. Well, hang on, I every now and then I'll hear something absurd like that, and I'll be like, show me, and it'll be like, oh, the Egyptians do have this cartoon here of a cat that chases a mouse and gets dumbfounded twice. That's Tom and Jerry. Okay.
You know what? Kyle's question in seconds. Win the House, toss up on the president, lose the Senate. That's my guess.
I've given no thought to Congress. I just feel like if Trump loses, then he is in a lot more legal trouble. If he wins, then his legal trouble is over. Like that's the way I see that, because he'll be whoever his VP is can pardon him if need be. But he can just pardon himself probably of what he's done. Like the attorney general is going to be busy attacking the Bidens as well. Like he's going to direct his attorney general to weaponize the judicial system and go after anybody on the Biden side, because he hates what's happening right now. Whatever he says, this is not the guy who's been up at the crack of dawn working all day. This is one of those guys who takes a nap in the middle of the day. They've got him at those fucking early morning court appearances that he can't nope out of. He doesn't get to sleep in one day.
In public, falling asleep, farting himself awake.
I don't believe any of that.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, it's funny.
Why would they make it up?
Why would they make it up other than all the other nonsense they've made up for the past decade?
I heard Biden pooped himself. Trump said he pooped himself a few weeks ago, and now they're coming back at him with the same thing.
I can't tell you, but it was widely reported that this happened.
Of course, of course it was.
Do you believe the falling asleep part?
The media hates
I believe the closing his eyes and sitting there part, and I don't know if he fell asleep or not, and I also don't know if I care if he fell asleep or not, because it's not like they're asking questions.
I heard someone explain it, and this person I think was attempting to be unbiased, and they're like, in fairness, this courtroom is not like modern HVAC, and it is always either freezing cold in there or too warm, and it can put you to sleep. It made sense.
I don't know. I think it's wild that we have a national news apparatus that's like, this guy who's being clearly targeted by his political opponents in an election season has stinky farts. More after this on the extent of his stinky farts.
Did you see the makeup of NPR? It was like 27 out of 29 Democrats. It's like, how is this national public radio funded federally? Why can't we get more than 2 like conservatives on NPR? Like, you don't think that shapes their viewpoints?
I think you're right. I watch a lot of NPR. I would actually bet the house I watch more NPR than you guys combined.
You do?
Yep, anything more than 0.
Probably 15 minutes a day on average, 20 minutes a day.
It's a ton.
And they do a pretty good job. There's one guy on there who's clearly progressive, and there's another guy on there he's supposed to be conservative, but I find him kind of unbiased. You know, he's not in the bag for anybody.
He's their version of a conservative.
Yeah. So like a toothless, like
Bill Maher's
he's
too
really
right-wing
smart, and he's senior. He's like been on the show longer than the progressive guy, and he's like the authoritative voice. The progressive guy is the new guy, and I think if you watched it, I think you can watch it and exit it as better informed, and that's one of my big things. I watch Brian Tyler Cohen. I don't know if you know him, but he's a YouTuber and he talks about politics every day. Okay. And he is so in the bag for liberals that I don't feel like I'm better informed. You watch him long enough and you're like, what? That Trump's goat is cooked? Is that a term?
It's the cognitive dissonance. It's
for like
here's the biggest
1,000th time. It's a lie.
The biggest problem is that neither side will even allow themselves to see through the other side's eyes. I just keep seeing the left-wing take on a right-wing action and how they're like, look at them. They want to enslave women. No, they think you're murdering babies.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see it as healthcare. They see it as murder.
I watch so much.
And that bounce goes in one ear and comes out the other. And it's like, yeah, they want to enslave us. Us. They want to know what our pussies are doing. I want to know less about what your pussy does, frankly. Okay.